I'm curious, what made you think that you could direct a feature film? And this is not an ad hominem attack, but I am curious.
Well, that's a good question, because I'm really supposed to be building Buicks right now on the first shift assembly line in Flint, Michigan.
Canadian Bacon is to date the only non-documentary film made by Michael Moore. I was going to say it's the only non-fiction film, but he has a history of being a little loose with the facts. But that is a subject for a different video.
What would you suggest we do to keep these factories open, Should I call up the Russians, see if they want to get back into it, huh? Would that help?
Don't you get sarcastic with me, you little pissant. You just had an idea that I liked.
It is the story of a president who wants a war just to increase his popularity, but unable to increase tensions with Russia, like in the good old days, he declares war on Canada.
I want to call the American Embassy. All I said was Canadian beer sucks. You guys shut up, people!
Can we all just get along?
John Candy plays Sheriff Bud Boomer, who inspires the attack on Canada and is swept up in the propaganda.
Are you a journalist? Well, I consider this journalism. How would you define journalism? I know the easy way to define journalism. You mean the J school way? Well, we use humor, to talk about the issues of the day. And I think that's okay. Why does something have to be completely serious in order to be relevant or newsworthy?
Doesn't have to be. It's an interesting choice, though, and it's an interesting way to do it. I mean, you could have continued to make documentaries after Roger and Me. Instead, you've decided to go for a weekly television format.
This was only Michael Moore's second feature film, after the documentary Roger and Me and 2 seasons of TV Nation.
But overall, I had a great time doing it. It was so much easier than making a documentary, because there's a script you're following, and they have to say what you told them to say. And then when you're in the edit room, you just match the script to the footage, as opposed to the documentary. As anybody in here knows who makes documentaries, you really start making the film in the edit room. Right. That's really where you write it, so it's kind of an ass-backwards way of making a movie. So I had a good time, and John was a great guy, and was sorry to see him go.
This script bears similarities to Wag the Dog, where a fake war is created to boost presidential ratings, and to South Park Bigger, Longer and Uncut, where a self-righteous war is declared on Canada. But it actually predates both of them.
They're not even a real country anyway.
The film has lots of cameos from both sides of the US border. My favourite is, of course, Dan Aykroyd as an excessively nice but pedantic Canadian police officer.
If you wish to avoid prosecution, I would advise that you comply with our language laws, which specifically prescribe that all signs be in both English and French, Canada's 2 official languages.
Okay.
The only casting I really don't get is John Candy. Likeable, lovable, friendly Canadian John Candy as the American sheriff who hates Canada. In fact, the whole character feels a little strange to me, as the story's not being told from his point of view. We're seeing it from all angles. This man is supposed to be suckered in by propaganda. If it was told from his point of view, like that Japanese soldier who wouldn't surrender until 30 years after World War II had ended because he didn't know it was over, then it would make more sense. Instead, it feels like a cameo they've beefed up into a bigger role so they could put a star in it. And it doesn't feel like he has a great deal to do, because the real story is happening in the White House.
Listen, if you feel that way about it, goodbye. I like this.
The Alan Alda side of the story is witty and clever. John Candy's side is, well, quite frankly, it's beneath his skills as a performer.
Okay, there are people who are having real serious problems with this movie, Canadian Bacon.
You got a list?
Yeah, I got a list. Well, I got a long list. There are people who think it's really amusing and subversive. I have to say that there are. And there are other people who think that it's just appalling and not funny at all.
What do they find appalling about it?
They think it's amateurishly shot, badly directed,
right,
and not funny.
Right, wow.
Which is a problem for a comedy.
Well, those people like art house films, Right. And I made a film, for people like me. People who live in Flint, Michigan, or Hamilton, Ontario, or Sarnia.
Right.
And we like to go see, John Candy movies and things like that. The art house crowd wants, Dr. Strangelove or something that nobody will go see.
Right.
And, that's not really what I'm interested in doing. Somebody yesterday some critics said this is the first left-wing film for the mall crowd.
Imagine that. Hollywood making movies with left-wing politics in them. I bet you thought you'd never see the day.
The dialogue is written to be read.
That's right.
And all the jokes are in the dialogue. He doesn't have jokes that involve visuals, involve relationships, involve characters, involve dramatic scenes.
Right.
People just stand there on screen and say things that might be funny as verbal concepts, but don't work as
That's
a movie.
what I stand up back and listen. There is really no story here. There's just scenes connected with punchlines.
Although Canadian Bacon was not the last John Candy film to be made, it was the last to be released. Straight after filming this, Candy went to Mexico to film Wagons East, but was set to return to reshoot the ending, which sadly he never got to do as he died while shooting that movie.
As if he knew he'd be leaving us soon, John left us a library of fun to remember him by, on tape, film, and laserdisc. And we share this life with the whole world. The British Isles, Europe, the islands, they'll all share with Canadians John's love of life. And yes, Americans who like to claim John as their own, and who can blame them. They too will need their comforting.
I have no idea how those reshoots would have affected the film overall. Reshoots have saved many a movie in the past, but they've also made bad films worse. Now, I don't hate Canadian Bacon. Not as much as this guy does anyway.
Yeah.
But there's a point I want to get at. And
Yeah.
it sounds like you're suggesting that my not liking your film is a class thing. And
No,
I'm
no.
thinking, that's hooey.
No, you have every right not to like it. That's perfectly. It's your prerogative not to like it. I mean, there are a lot of people that didn't like Roger and me. There are a lot of people that don't like TV Nation. I mean, that just happens. I mean, you can't. You have to do what you think is right.
Right.
And I, as the filmmaker, has to do. I have to do what I think is right in terms of the kind of film that I wanted to make, and I wanted to, sort of present this hybrid of satire and farce.
I don't like the implications you made earlier, which is that your film isn't liked by me or my kind because this is a kind of highbrow intellectual art crowd. I think you're letting yourself off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's got anything to do with a highbrow intellectual crowd. I think it's possible that maybe you didn't make a good film, and I think you've got to acknowledge that rather than dismiss the people who don't like your movie as if there's something wrong.
I don't have to acknowledge it. I think I made a very good film, a film that I'm very proud of, and a lot of other people think so. It was an official selection of the Cannes Film Festival this year. It's in this film festival. We had a great screening yesterday. People love the film, but some people won't love the film.
Right.
It's okay. You don't have to love the film.
Right.
But if you have loved this video, you can hit the like and subscribe buttons. I have more content just like this in the queue waiting for release. You can also help me funding my own feature film with a one-time donation via this site. There's a link in the description for your ease, and thanks in advance. I'm Scott Kingsnorth, and I'm making a movie.